OJ over here from PlayerEssence, and welcome to the PE Nintendo Switch and Gaming News video. I want to first and foremost say thank you to everyone who's been liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. You guys are awesome, and let's please keep it up. Now, let's get into this news here because there's some awesome stuff on Knights of Azure 2 for the Nintendo Switch, in addition to the Pokemon game coming to the Nintendo Switch, the mainline Pokemon game, with some of the developers talking about what they're expecting and what they want to see. So let's go ahead and get into this news here. Battle Party and Leveling System for Knights of Azure 2. We have a press release, so let's go down it right here. Koei Tecmo America introduces today new details on the level up system and battle party mechanics in Gus Studios' latest title, Knights of Azure 2 Bride of the New Moon. Slated for release on October 24, 2017, Knights of Azure 2 Bride of the New Moon will be available for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Windows PC. In Knights of Azure 2 Bride of the New Moon, players will encounter a number of unique and dastardly fiends and will have to rely on their close bonds with their companions to emerge victorious. The battle party will always be comprised of Alush, the player's character, and NPC of her choice, and up to 2 servants. Each team member will bring a unique selection of skills to the equation, ranging from different fighting styles and weapons to the beautiful Lily Burst, a power-up that combines the extraordinary abilities of Alush and her humanoid companion into one devastating blow. Alush's servant allies are also useful assets to the team, with their incredible servant actions, which can help turn the tide of battle in her favor. The invaluable Tricker types are able to gain an advantage by unleashing their elemental abilities, dealing critical status effects to their foes. One such Tricker is the mighty canine companion Sheriff, who sends electrified spears onto the battlefield to paralyze and inflict lasting damage on enemies. Trickers can change form as they evolve and grow more powerful through reincarnation, which drastically increases their stats, allowing them to access new types of attacks and unlock incredible abilities. As for the player-controlled Alush, she soon discovers that the blood of slain fiends can be used to heighten her body's strength, and players are able to choose new abilities fitting their preferred playstyle from a wide selection of varied combat styles. To further detail the exciting combat and diverse evolutions featured in Knights of Azure 2 Bride of the New Moon, Koei Tecmo has released a compelling new trailer which will introduce the diverse cast of characters that Alush will meet along her journey. There is also a first look at a new character, Eleanor Ernest, the lively and passionate chocolatier, and a fresh look at a familiar face, Christophorus, the mysterious pure-blooded demon who returns from Knights of Azure. Both will bring their unique talents to bear in an effort to aid Alush in her fight against the Moon Queen. So Knights of Azure 2 is launching on the Nintendo Switch at the end of this year. I think it's October 27th. No, October 24th. October 27th is Mario Odyssey and Assassin's Creed Origins, and that's why this game, Knights of Azure 2, was on my hidden gems or overlooked games, because I feel some people will overlook it because it's so close to Super Mario Odyssey and spending that money. Obviously, a lot of people can only afford one game in that month, and a lot of people might pick Super Mario Odyssey. However, Knights of Azure 2 is a nice option for those who can afford both of them, and also too looking for a great action RPG on the Nintendo Switch. So that's the reason why I put it on there on my overlooked games, and I think it's going to be a great title. Now, I've talked about this before as far as Knights of Azure 1 not feeling quite right when it comes to the combat and when it comes to other things in the game. I think Knights of Azure 2 is doing a really good job at explaining why this is going to be a better title. This battle system that they have is completely revamped from what they had in the first game. It seems like they smartened up a little bit and added in another player character that you pick, because the problem that I personally had, and I know some people didn't have a problem with this, but the issue I had with Knights of Azure 1 is that it was just you as the player-controlled character and a bunch of servants. That was it. But I think that when you have the dynamics of multiple human NPCs or multiple things that aren't necessarily like the little servants or anything like that, or demons that you carry along, it creates a better battle system. It creates a better way that, as far as like skill trees, there's just so much more you can do because the servants just don't have as much abilities as the human characters. So I love the fact that they're adding in that. I think that's going to make it a more dynamic game. game. You're going to have your burst attacks with the rage. I think it's going to be great. So there's a lot of positive things about Knights of Azure 2. They've bumped up the graphics. The story looks better. Obviously, it has a lot of the anime aesthetics as far as the big-chested women and all that. And some people might be a little turned off with that. But at the same time, that's just the look that they're going for. I don't think it's necessarily be a negative thing against the game because the combat looks more than solid. The story looks pretty good as well. So I do think that this is going to be a good game. So people definitely keep your eye out for Knights of Azure 2 on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC. It's launching this October, and I think it's going to be a good one, especially if you're looking for a great action RPG to play on the go and at home. Alright, and moving on to the next article here, we have some Pokemon news, with Game Freak excited to see the main way people play the Nintendo Switch, and will try to make a Pokemon game that meets everyone's expectations. So let's go ahead and get into the article here first. Now, Game Informer, they had a big feature on the Pokemon company, and they were flown out to Game Freak's offices in Japan to talk about this and reminisce about the old games and the franchise's history and various other things. However, the Nintendo Switch was of course brought up, and at E3 we all know that a new Pokemon game, a mainline Pokemon game, was announced for the system, so that was actually super hype. And Game Freak's Matsuda and Omori both spoke to Game Informer about the Switch and making the game on the platform. So let's first get into what Matsuda had to say on the system. Quote, "What I'm really curious about and really excited to see will be the main way that people play the Switch. Will it be at home for the most part? Will it be out and about? I think that's really going to depend on where the person lives. Maybe the main style of playing will be different. As we've been saying a lot, we always focus on, when designing the games, thinking about how the player is going to enjoy it and what kind of experiences they are going to have. I'm really kind of excited to see where the main style of playing is going to land." Matsuda also added that it's definitely different this time, since Game Freak isn't just moving between handhelds. The Nintendo Switch is also a console. Just playing it at home is kind of a little bit different than the portable systems we've made games for up until now, he added. Now, Omori also talked about the Switch, and here's what he had to say. "It's definitely really fun to see that, but at the same time, it is definitely a lot of pressure, so we're going to do our best to create a great game that answers those expectations." Now, I don't want to sit here and act like I have these astronomical expectations for this new Pokemon game, because I honestly don't. I just want a great, solid Pokemon game I can play on the go and also at home on my TV. It doesn't need to be the greatest thing in the world. It doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. We all just want a great Pokemon game. Now, I remember back when Pokemon was transitioning from the DS to the 3DS. People were just amazed by the really cool in-battle graphics. And Pokemon X and Y is not the greatest Pokemon game out there. I think it's very good, but there's games like Sun and Moon that do. But there's definitely games that are better in the Pokemon franchise than Pokemon X and Y, but people were so happy and hyped up about it is because it was the first one moving to new hardware, better graphics, all that entails, better online features. Whatever the case was, we got that with the 3DS. So I think going from Pokemon from the 3DS to the Nintendo Switch, which is a massive jump by the way, absolutely slaughters the jump in terms of graphical capabilities from the DS to the 3DS. Now going from the Nintendo 3DS to the Switch, which is also a home console as well, is definitely challenging, and that's something that they did express, but I'm not expecting them to make the greatest game in the world. I'm not expecting it to be like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I just want an amazing Pokemon experience on the go and at home with one cartridge. And I think that's the one thing that most people can agree to. I know that back in the day, I used to play Pokemon as far as the Super Game Boy. I played that all the time. I would take my Game Boy cartridge, I would plug that into the Super Game Boy, then plug that into my Super Nintendo and play so much. I'd also take that same Game Boy cartridge, plug it into the N64 transfer pack, then plug that into the controller for the N64, then play Pokemon Stadium, then speed it up. So we got like a super Game Boy. Well, really you can only use that one Pokemon game or any of the Pokemon games that were out on the time on the GBA, but it was still awesome to do and I absolutely loved it. And then I would play it on the go as well, but I'm like, man, this is really really slow. But either way, it was great to have different options. So there is somewhat of a precedence for people being able to play Pokemon on their TV and on the go. We've seen it before with the GBA player as well. Really, the only time period that we didn't get that with Pokemon being out as far as being able to play on our TVs and also being able to play on the go was with the Nintendo 3DS. Pretty much every other time we've been able to do it. Oh, and also the Nintendo DS. The Nintendo DS and Nintendo 3DS we weren't able to, but the Game Boy Advance we were able to, the Super Game Boy we were able to, so it's exciting to actually have that but built into one system. We don't need both systems to do it, and it's a lot easier. It's just the same thing, we just plug that in, but there is some similarities. We are plugging stuff in, there is cartridges, so as a nostalgic gamer myself, it's so great to see that, and that's another reason why I'm happy about that, man. I mean, it just fits, right? Pokemon cartridges, handheld, also home console, Super Game Boy, GBA, people did that a lot. So I'm excited to see the future for Pokemon and what they have cooking. But yeah, expectations are going to be high, obviously. I'm just looking for a solid Pokemon title that's really good, be able to play at home and also on the go, and I think a lot of people are going to be happy with that. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. It really helps us spread the content of PlayerEssence across the interwebs in addition to YouTube. Also make sure you check out our Patreon page, pledge any tier, and be entered to win some awesome prizes each month. In addition to that, we have Discord voice chat and $10 prize eShop tournaments for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Splatoon 2, and more. So support PE Live and PE Arena right here on PlayerEssence. Also make sure you hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for the latest news, reviews, discussions, and more. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you ninja for the next video. Peace!